packaging that I believe Bud Crawford, because when you're in the 360 deal,
it don't matter what you do. You could piss in a bowl of rice in China. Label get a cut of that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. Man, it's an honor and a privilege, man, to have my man King Amin of Essex on here with me today. You know what I'm saying? We always do our dirty work over there on his channel, the championship rounds. I keep doing body work and keep getting me back to the championship rounds. And I just want to salute this man because I could always talk boxing, man. Sometimes we agree to go on subjects where we differ in opinions, and we try to show you how to do this, son. What's going on, King, man? State your name and, you know what I'm saying, give your plug in and tell the world what you all about, homie.
hey, listen, man, definitely appreciate the introduction, appreciate the opportunity, appreciate the good sparring, man. You know, something about these Northeast streets, man, that make it, that we got that good work up and down that turnpike, right? So
Yeah.
I'm here joining my brother Bodywork Boxing. Y'all can find me, King Amin of Essex1 on Instagram, King Amin on Twitter, and on YouTube, King Amin of Essex1. We got those championship rounds over there. Really honing in on this craft, man. It's a lot of people out there doing what they do, but ain't nobody doing what we do over here. So body work has added a different wrinkle to my game. So, you know, we can add. I'm giving him the rounds. You know, when you see a fighter, you say, yo, he needs to go more rounds. So body out here been like Jared Anderson.
Yeah.
You know, they're waiting to see, well, okay, well, now what? Okay. So this is what we doing out here. And I love this joint Boxing Minds, man. We're going to get to it, baby.
Yeah, you know the concept over here, you know, when we do boxing minds, I say it's boxing minds over boxing mouths. Because a lot of times we hear we hear a lot of people talk boxing, man, but we never really get to explore their mind, whether it's a difference in opinions or what have you. But we've been cooking on something, and this is probably we're gonna have to probably install this out. Like, we're gonna have to do this in segments, man, because it's something that we've been sitting on for a while. We kind of alluded to. I know a lot of the foundation of the King Show, you know, it goes in this vein. A lot of time, I sometimes I watch the playbacks and I be hearing the little analogies and the little things he do in there when it comes to this music business, as it relates to boxing, man. And I said, look, there's some things I want to learn, and I want to kind of compartmentalize and break it down because it's a lot of different moving parts, you know. But I just wanted to give King Amin the floor and let him talk about, you know, the music business as it relates to boxing and this concept we've been working on.
So, you know, when they talk about coming out the hood, Cameron, you know what I mean? Or really, you know, big, either you sling a crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot. Yeah. And Cameron alluded to sex, drugs, and entertainment, or sports, drugs, and entertainment. And so what we always have of our ilk is the cross section of sports, entertainment, and music and everything along those lines. And so the music industry specifically is because promotions is the name of the game. And when you got the music industry, the way it's set up, it's changed over time. The way boxing has not changed over time. And now you see that the boxing model is still as crooked and it still is organized confusion when it comes to organized crime and sanctioning bodies and, you know, $100 handshakes, but it's following a legal criminal industry, which is the record industry, right? So
right.
Let me start by saying I'll look at each label as kind of having a distinct representation throughout the culture. All right. The same way the governing body. So let me start with the labels. Now, we all from this hip hop era. Everybody know what time it is when you hear about a Def Jam label, you know? The name alone has its connotation. Just because it's the streaming world, we starting to know folks' business. So now we know about a Warner Music Group and a Universal. We know about artists getting independent deals and the difference between them signing 360 deals. All of that personal business that used to be kind of smoke and mirrors in the music industry is now up front.
Right.
Now with boxing, we're trying to get boxing to that point where all of the smoke and mirrors that we used to seeing in boxing can be a little bit more transparent, but we're still not quite there. And so as I use these analogies and we had this open conversation, and we could use the whole Spence Crawford thing as a great analogy, you know?
Yeah.
You know, people would say back in the day, yo, why would I go and sign? Cameron and 50 Cent had an argument on air. You signing the Koch. That's a graveyard. Nobody heard of Koch. But if you know what they are, E1 Records, they own the rights to Death Row. They own that entire catalog.
Wow.
So, you know, you got to be careful of how you represent a label as being nothing. Be careful of how you represent a promotional company as being nothing. Because you look at a company like TGB, Tom Gibbons, whatever promotions, whatever, he's basically the shell company for PBC.
Right.
So he's not a big promoter. He's a local promoter. But if you got big fighters, then kind of the promoter don't matter. So it's so many wrinkles to it, man. And I just wanted to open it up with that part. So
yeah, it's funny because it's the right time, you know, because we were looking at, and you know, we try to stay away from the messiness. Every now and again I can't help it. I gotta go on a rant and purge. You know, I get back to doing my thing, you know what I'm saying? Because I was just a frustrated boxing fan. But one of the concepts you talked about was the 360 deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if a nickel bag gets sold in the park, I want in. You know what I'm saying? That was the rumor that Bud was saying, you know, hey, I want something on the hot dogs. You know what I'm saying? You throwing frisbees, you know, the t-shirt gun. I want in. You know what I'm saying? How many t-shirts? I was, you know, so part of it is like that's alluding to the 360 deal, and a lot of times in the industry, I used to do music myself, but a lot of times in the music industry, it's either you can bet on yourself, try to go independent, try to get a name, you know, trying to leverage yourself and make yourself marketable, and then you maybe get a distribution or something like that, something to kind of get you on that highway of music and get you on the many different lanes to where people get to hear you. The other side is, well, you're gonna get taken care of almost like a W-2 versus a 1099, where they're going to take care of you. They're going to give you a bag up front. It's going to be dependent upon the sales that you actually do, to where you got to put that back in the funnel that they gave you up front and hope that you really blow and sustain the way you can see regular money.
leverage
it. So part of the thing was the whole pros and cons about the no guarantee up front versus the I want in on everything and I'm going to take something on the back end, you know. So how does that relate to 360 part? Can you dive into that a little bit if you care to?
No, definitely. So let's say one thing out front. Muhammad Ali, what he did in boxing helped the music industry with the Ali Act. The Ali Act necessitates that as long as you operating and doing business in the state of California, and you have been in a contract for 7 years, at the end of that 7-year contract, you have the option to investigate as to whether or not that label, promoter, manager, or entity has been finding the best deal for you each and every time. If there's one instance of fiduciary irresponsibility, then you get out of that deal. So sometimes the labels, managers, or whomever get themselves ensnared in letting the artists get that type of leverage because they did a favor deal as opposed to doing a favorable deal for their client.
Right.
So now when we talk boxing, it becomes, all right, well, you know what? I'm offering you a 2-fight deal. We talked about it on the show the other day. If Devin wanted to sign, he's in a 3rd fight deal with Loma. Now, Loma the one that got to bet on himself and say, yo, I didn't get the rematch with Tio. I'm not doing that again to have to start. It's like, remember playing PlayStation back in the day, no memory card. You gotta start all over again if you don't leave it on, right?
Yeah, right.
He don't want to have to do that again. So of course, what do you say? I gotta find a way to lock in this 360 type dynamic to where I'm gonna need a rematch clause because I gotta run the analytics on what an entire 2 events would look like. And then now we get tricky because if we're talking about a percentage on this 360, or we're talking about an amount. Because if I give you an amount and say, yo, out of this 360 deal, like what Live Nation and Rock Nation do nowadays, they say, look, I'm gonna send you on a tour throughout the Northeast. You can make 3.7 million. If you went and did it on your own and went to all the college cities and try to do it, you probably wouldn't clear 900 grand.
Wow.
I'm gonna put this tour together. We already ran the analytics. It's 3.7 million. These are the sponsors I got assigned to it. All you got to do is show up, right?
Right.
But think about, now that seems like, okay, they told an artist like Jadakiss, he's got 20 dates on the East Coast and he can make 3.7 million. That's a great idea, right? A guaranteed set money. But somebody like Jay-Z, Madonna, Beyonce, Mariah Carey, they're offered a flat fee plus the percentage.
Yeah.
They'll say, okay, we have to put together this touring package with all these venues, all this merchandise, the recording of your album, the advertising. Jay-Z, we're going to give you $100 million for the 444 album because we got Budweiser behind it. We got it tied into the Made for America festival out in Philly for 3 days. We got Samsung involved in it. We got Justin Timberlake and his label and their budget tied into it. And he's never even signed to a label. This is what he's get because Rock Nation as a company can just run the numbers. And so let's bring it to boxing. I don't want to lose nobody in the weeds. If Bud Crawford says somebody says they got 25 million for me, they ran the analytics. It's hard to dispute whether they have it or they don't have it, but why would that be different from what Jay-Z said when he said, why would I sign to a label? I'm Jay-Z. Why would I sign to Interscope? Why would I sign to Def Jam? All I got to do is take the project that I have, the commodity that I am, and take it and get money from it. Bud is saying the commodity that I believe I am. Now, never mind, I'm preface it by saying this is the biggest fight in almost in the welterweight history since Hearns and since Leonard Hagler. But the business model necessitates I'm such a commodity. Either I'm gonna take the 25 million that they ran the analytics on that I was offered, or I'm gonna take this 10 million that I was offered. But I just can't see saying, well, just fall back because trust me, the 25% we was going to offer you could have been 25% of $1 billion, or it could be 25% of $1 million, or it could be 25% of 10 million. But you're going to take a percentage type packaging that I believe Bud Crawford, because when you're in a 360 deal, it don't matter what you do. You could piss in a bowl of rice in China. The label get a cut of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,